Hello students, welcome to the second video of our tutorial series. In the first video we have learned how to import the data, how to export the data, how to work with the do files, how to work with the log files, so forth. So in this video we're gonna explore the data using some basic commands of how to describe, how to count those data, and how to generate new variables, how to drop uh, existing variables, how to rename the existing variables, and so forth. So as you know, first we'll write every code in the do file. So we'll find out our first do file. So this is our do file. We'll write all of our command here. So first command is obviously we have to set up our relative path, so that whoever use this file in whatever computer, they just can change the relative path and every code will work. So first command is check the relative path, set up the relative path. So set up relative path, and to set up we have to go to our command. So this is our tutorial command for folder. So Control C, this is our location of the file. So you can just write cd, that's our command, then put the quotation mark, put it our location, execute it. It's executed. So this is our relative path. Just to make sure it is really our relative path, we have to use, if you remember from our first video, we are going to use pwd command. So let's see if it is really our relative path. So you just write pwd, select it, execute it. You see, both of them are same. So this is indeed our relative path. So for this video, for this tutorial video, I'm not going to use any external file, because the aim of this video is to show you different basic tools that you need to use on a day-to-day basis as a Stata programmer. So we're going to use the system files. So whatever files which are inbuilt in Stata, we'll use those things. So write use system file. So from the first video I have shown you how to see the system file. First you will use the sys command, sysuse, then you put dir sysuse directory to see all the files which are built in a Stata. So auto files, cancer file, ct file. Last time we used cancer file. This time let's use the census file. I think census file is a little bigger than the cancer file. So to use that file, we have to write the sysuse command again, sysuse, and this time we will write whatever data set we want to use. So in this case we want to use the census file. So you just write census and then execute it. Okay, so it's already in your variable window. So you just write pro browse to browse the data. So this is our data set. We have 50 states, each states abbreviated form where they are located, that's the region. So for example, if you go to Florida, that's in the south, we are in Georgia, that's in the south, then you have the population, and then you have bunch of variables that you don't know what they are. But if you go here, the variable window, and you go to label, you can see what they stand for. So pop means population, then POPLT5 means population less than 5 years, and so forth. And you have the death data, marriage, divorce, different data set. So good. So the very first command is we want to describe the data set. So you will just write, okay, let's describe the data. Okay. So you will write describe. So easy, right? You want to describe the data, command is describe. So you describe the data. So it shows all the variables, their storage type, display format, value label, and their variable label. So you know what their stands for. For example, here is like 8 or 9 variables. There will be cases where your data set will have 100 or 200 variables. So you don't need the description of 200 variables. You need, for example, you need one variable. So if you want to get a description of one variable, so you will just write down the variable name after the describe command. So you write describe, then you put whatever variable you want to describe. So whatever variable you want the description for. So for this case, let's say we want to see marriage. So execute it. You can see it shows only the marriage, not any other variable. That's good. Okay, that's the description. After description, we can, for example, we want to see how many elements are there. And if you are in the first class or even the second class, we talked about elements. So elements are the object upon which we collected the data. So in this case, just bro, these are the states upon which we collected the region, population, marriage, death, divorce, this data. So this first column is our elements. So we want to see the number of elements. So for that we have to use the count command. What is count command? Just write count. It will give you all the elements. So we know there are 50 elements. So let's see if count command also give us 50 elements. 50 elements. Okay. That's too easy. Let's see how many state is there that has more divorces or more marriages or less deaths. We can also do it. We can also get a count of those things. So for that we have to use options, and the most common options in Stata is the if options. So you will write count, then you will put if command. If, let's say, divorce is, let's say, if a state has 10,000 divorce, so that means the state is very divorce prone, so it has a lot of divorces. So we'll say, let's say, greater than or equal to, just put the greater than equal to sign, 10,000. So you want to see how many state has divorces more than 10,000. You come here, 36 state that has divorces more than 10,000. Okay, let's see how many states are there that has a very low death rate, number of deaths. So you write again count if. You can also just copy paste it multiple times. So for example, you can just copy it, Control C, Control V. Okay, you copy it, so you don't have to write it down. So let's say instead of divorce we want to see death. No, not really. We don't want to see death right now. So death variable, we want to see the death variable, and let's say we want to see how many states has less than, let's say, 6,000 deaths. Okay, there are 7 variables or 7 states, in this case 7 elements, 7 states that has deaths less than 6,000 for the year. Okay, so that's our count command. let's use something called ds command. So what is ds command? Ds command will show you, it will display the variables. So if you just write ds, just ds, okay, you see all the variables. ds is gives you a state 2, region, population, so all the variables here, they display it here. So it's a display command. So for example, you have 100 variables and you put the ds command, so that's a long list. You want to get it in alphabetical order, so in this case it's not alphabetical, right? You have a state before region, before population, before death, so we want to make it in alphabetical order. To do that, we can just write ds comma alpha. Yeah, make sure our syntax is correct, otherwise the command will not work. So ds comma alpha, it gives all the variables, it will list all the variables in the alphabetical order. Quite good. Okay, let's say we want to see how many of those variables are string variables, how many of the variables are numeric variables. So you write down ds comma has, then you put first bracket and you will write type, so the data type, and then you will put, let's say we want to see how many variables are string variables. So we know how many variables are string variables. So string variable is more or less like the categorical variable, like nominal variable, those kind of things. So you put type string and execute it. You see state 2, these are the two string variables. So you want to see, for example, how many of them are numeric variable. So you'll just copy paste, you don't need to write it down every time. So Control C, Control V. Instead of string variable, we want to see how many of the variables are numeric variables. So you put numeric, then again, see what happens. So we have population, marriage, divorce, those are numeric variables. Okay, then we can see the codebook command. Codebook command will give you lots of summary statistics. I think you remember what summary statistics is. It's the graphical or numeric methods to explore the data. So you will just use codebook command to get summary statistics or descriptive statistics. So you will write codebook and then you will write whatever variable you want to see the summary statistics. So let's say we want to see the summary statistics of divorce. So divorce. So it gives the summary statistics for divorce. So what type of data it is? It's a numeric data. Then what's the range? We haven't talked about range or mean or standard deviation or percentiles, but just remember the command, like what command you will use. And there are other commands also we're going to talk about later once we finish chapter 2. So these things are from chapter 2. Just know what codebook can give you. Codebook will give you bunch of summary statistics or descriptive statistics, same thing. So that's the codebook command. Then we can come to the most important command, which is the help command. Okay, question is what is help command? So help command is if you want to do something in a Stata and you don't know how to do it, you don't know the syntax. Obviously there is a Google and you can search it on Google and get a syntax, but there is a Google inside Stata. Even if you don't have any internet, you can still use it. So it's called the help command. So for example, we want to see how many duplicate data is there. Obviously we don't have any duplicate data, because if you can see it here, there are 50 elements and no observation is the same. All the observations are different, so there is no duplicate data here. But for the for argument, let's assume that there is a duplicate data, and we want to know how to figure it out, the duplicates. So for that we can use the help command. So you write help and then you put duplicates. Yeah, we make a duplicates. Okay, now it will work. So whenever you put help and then whatever you want the help for, it will pop up a new window. So in this case is the viewer window, and it shows the syntax, whatever syntax you want to use, whatever options. We have talked about the options, if you remember, in the do file. Here we use the option if, whatever follows after if, whatever follows if, that's the option. So we have the options, then you have menu, you have description, what it can do, and then most important thing is it gives you examples how to use it. So first thing first, we want to use this one, report duplicates. We can go at the top also, duplicates report. So we can just copy paste from here, Ctrl C, duplicates report. So you see there is no duplicates. Whenever you have duplicates, you will have surplus. So there is zero surplus, meaning there are 50 observations, all the observations are different, no duplicates. So let's make a duplicate ourselves and see if it gives a different result if we have a duplicate. So for that, we'll just go to the editor, data editor. We copy paste one of the, Ctrl C, copy paste one of the observation. So now we have two observation, Wyoming, I think that's how you pronounce it, Wyoming. So now use the same command again, duplicates report. Now you can see there is one duplicate, right? One surplus. So there is 49 variables now which are different, but there is one variable which has two observation, one surplus. How can we know that which duplicates we have? So we want to list the duplicate. So for example, you have 1000 data, 1 million data, and there is only one duplicates. For whatever reason, probably there was a mistake, whoever collected the data in the first place. So there is a duplicate, and you want to find out where the duplicate locates. So from this one, duplicate report command, we just know there is a duplicate, but we don't know which one is the duplicate. So you want to list it. For listing it, we see here, list all duplicates. So duplicates list, copy, paste, then execute it. It will give you the list of duplicate data. So you can see the number of the observation number 50, observation number 51, they are the same, so they are the duplicate. So now, for example, we want to get rid of this duplicate data. Not for example, we always have to get rid of the duplicate data, otherwise your analysis will be faulty and biased. So we want to get rid of the duplicate data, and for that, as you remember, we will use the drop command. I showed you in the class, if you remember. So you just drop it. So drop duplicates. How to drop? You write drop duplicates, drop, duplicates, drop. Okay, execute it. One observation, delete it. So we again browse it by writing bro, you go, that data is gone, that observation is gone. So duplicate is very important and very useful tool. I use duplicate almost every day. This command, most of these commands I use every day, especially duplicate command. We drop the duplicate always before any analysis. And help is like the most important command. Okay, so let's generate some variable. Okay, generate variable. So for example, you have we don't need this help point anymore, so you just write bro. So let's browse the data. So for example, you have bunch of data and I want to make another variable here, another column. And for example, there are 50 states and I have been to couple of states and I want to write it down how many states I have been. So I can just write, there are two commands for generating a variable. One is gen command, another one isegen command. So I'll show you both and I'll show you when to use what. So first command is gen command. So you will write gen, I'll write places I have visited. Okay. Okay. What happened? Okay, so I made a mistake here. You have to put a equal sign and then you have to put something. So generate places I have visited equal to, let's say I put 1. Most of the time you can just put 0. So let's put 1 and then use the, I think it would be better to use 0. So I'll write drop. So I'll drop this variable and write it again, places I have visited. So it's dropped. And then let's write it 0 because I have less states that I have visited than states I haven't visited. Okay. So generate places I have visited. So 0 means the place I haven't visited. So I'll put the places I have visited by 1. So I didn't go to Alabama, I go to Florida. So let's put 1. Yes. Then I am right now in Georgia. So let's put 1. Yes. Let's say I was in North Carolina. So let's say 33. So I put 1. So that's how you can generate a variable. Let's make another variable, generate another variable to show you how to make it. So let's say I want to make a variable, let's say Republican or Democrat. So you want to see who are in power in those variables. So let's put generate Republican, Democrat. So for example, 0 means Republican and Democrat means 1. So you put it 0 in general and then you can change accordingly. So you have Republican or Democrat. Now you can manually change it or you can write command. So how you write command? You again use the if command. So let's say which one you want to use. I'm not sure who are in power in Florida. Let's say Republicans are in power in Florida. So for Republicans, yes, 0. For example, Georgia, the Democrats are in power in Georgia. So let's say Democrat for 1. So I have to use the data editor, by the way. Okay. So Georgia. So I put 1. If you want to change anything in the data set, you will use the data editor, not the browse. Okay, so you can change it manually, and I'll show you again in the how to change it by writing a code. So you can write a code, something called replace. So already most of the variables, most of the data point in that variable Republican Democrats are 0. So we want to make sure the whatever state has the Democrats in power, that should be 1. So we'll replace it equal to 1 if, so again if command, if the state is, for example, Michigan, let's say. So if the, to show it, okay, Michigan, what is Michigan, how is Michigan, Michigan is MI, okay, let's put if Michigan is MI, if, what's the name of the variable, state 2, state 2 equal to MI. So git execute it, you see one real change made. So if you go to browse again, we are going to Michigan, so it changes to 1. You can do it with the state also. For example, let's take another state. So you just copy paste it, Control C. So Control C, Control V. Okay, so we don't use the state 2. Let's use just the state, and whatever state we want to change. So for example, Georgia, already done. Kansas, let's say Kansas. So we are saying change that variable Republican Democrat equal to 1 if the state name is Kansas. So write Kansas. I think the spelling is good. So we'll execute it. One real change made. So you go to browse again, and you go to Kansas, right? Okay, Kansas. You see, it changes. So you can generate a variable with the default is 0, and then you can change it to 1 or 2, whatever you want. Usually 0 and 1, that's the binary variable. Okay, that's one way to create or generate a variable. There is another way of generating a variable, which is throughegen command. So what isegen? So for example, we have this data and we have made some variables too. We want to make a variable which is a, let's say, function of another variable. When one variable is a function of another variable, then we have to use theegen command. So for example, we have marriage, right? So we want to make a let's say mean of marriage by every single state or every single region. So we want to see what is the average number of marriage in the south, what is the average number of marriage in the west, and so forth. So you can also do it byegen command. So whenever it's a normal variable you want to create, you use the gen command like we have used, or when you want to use a like a functional variable, so one variable is a function of another variable, then you will use theegen command. So let's sayegen, let's say meow, that's our variable, and then equal to, you put a mean bracket, mean let's say divorce, divorce, and we want to see the divorce by different region, like which region has more divorce, which region has less divorce on an average. So you write by command will give you like sorting, so it will sort you by different region. So by, and then you put region. So you, okay, yeah, so you have to put a comma here. First time I didn't put the comma, so I got a error, variable is not allowed. Second time I used the comma. Soegen, then meow, then mean of the divorce we want by the comma by, and then region. So if you go to the browse, so that's our meow meow variable, and if you have the all the divorce on an average, the divorce by different region. So you see this first one is our which region, south region. So in the south they have the 27,000 something divorces on average. So all the south has the same average. Let's do another one, because I already made a mistake here. So let's do another one to clear your confusion. Let's say we want to make another variable egen. Let's give a meaningful name, mean of marriage. Okay, then comma, want to find the mean, then marriage, then comma, you use by region. Now it should work. Let's see if it works. Okay, so it worked. So go back. Mean of marriage in the south is 54,000 marriage on average. Then what is the other one? West. So in the west marriage is 41,578. So you have the same, this one is also west. So you have the same mean, what's the mean by the region. So every region has a on an average how many marriages are there. So in the south there are 54,000 marriages. Okay, so you learn about how to generate a variable, and there are two ways to do it. If it's a normal variable, you put gen whatever the variable name equal to on default 0. You can change the variable later and the value later. For the other one, you use the egen command, and in the egen command, egen is like a function of another variable, so that's why you will use egen. So if you want to find out the average, if you want to find out the variance, or whatever function you want, you will use the egen command. Okay, so that's good. Now another important thing I want to mention, that is the package. So what is the package? So package is there are many functions. You can see here I can write the command and it will work, but there are many things that are not in Stata. Otherwise Stata will be like 300 gigabyte software. So they make the basic things in the Stata, and there are some packages out there. You can download those packages, and it is very easy, the easiest download ever. So let's download a package. So you write package. So what's the command for package? You command is ssc. You always put ssc install, and then whatever package you want to download. So there is a very funny package I want to show you, which is the dad joke package. So you write dad joke, that's a package, ssc dad joke. So this is complete, and the command for the dad joke is you just write dad joke, and every time you write dad joke, the Stata will give you a dad joke. When is the best time to go to the dentist? 2:30. Okay, So that's how you install a package, external package. How to get rid of that package, that's the question. So for that you will use the same command, same command, but instead of install you write uninstall. So that how you will install will be package uninstall. So that's how you will. We're probably not going to use the package in this course, but in your econometrics probably there will be one or two packages, so it's good to know. And if you like the dad joke, and that's good too. So there's the package. So next we'll learn how to drop. We already show how to drop, but still let's show it again, how to drop a variable. So for this tutorial we have made different variables here, generated different variables with places I have visited, Republican, Democrat, meow, mean of marriage, and so forth. So you want to get rid of these variables. You can just write drop and whatever variables you want to drop. So let's say drop. I want to drop this thing, places I have visited, Republican, Democrat, meow, mean of marriage. You want to drop all these variables. So these are all dropped. You see, they are gone. But there is one important thing I want to mention, that once you drop something, you cannot get it back. So very careful. Always put every code in your do file, because once it's gone, there is no way to undo your action on Stata. Very important. So always put, never do analysis here. I'm just showing you, but never do anything here, because once you do it, it's gone forever. So always put everything in the do file, so it's never gone. It will be there, because you cannot undo any action on Stata. If you make mistake, you have to start again. Okay, so that's drop. What about the keep? So we don't want to drop anything, we just want to keep something. So when you need to use the keep, so the general consensus is this, that you have like hundreds of variables, let's say 130 variables, and you want only 2 variables. So if you use the drop command, you have to write down, like this one I write down 4 variables. If you have 130 variables and you only want to keep 2 variables, you have to drop 128 variables. You have to write down all of their name. So it's easier to write whatever variable you want to keep, because the number is lower. So you can just say keep, and whatever you want to keep. So let's say I want to keep the marriage, I want to keep the state, I want to keep the population, and I want to keep the marriage. That's it. I don't want to keep anything else. So keep state, pop, marriage. So all other variables are gone. Now I cannot undo this action, right? They are gone forever. So very careful. Okay, and last thing I want to talk about is rename. How to rename. So for example, in our case, we have state, we have pop, we have marriage. So we don't want this pop thing, like pop doesn't mean anything. So you want to put a real name. So let's say we want to make pop to population. So you want to rename this variable. So it's very simple. So write down rename. So you rename what you want to rename. You want to rename pop, and what you want to make it, you want to make it population. Sorry, population. So your population pop name will be converted to population. So if you go now, population, no longer pop. So you can change your you can rename your variables. So for example, marriage, I don't want this name. Probably let's say we want to say number of marriage. So you just rename it, rename marriage, let's say number of marriage, because there can be like rate of marriage. So it's better to write number of marriage just to differentiate. See, now it's the number of marriage. So we have learned in today's tutorial, we have learned how to describe the data, how to describe a specific variable, how to count the number of elements, how to count with a option. So here we count if the divorce is more than 10,000, so it gives us the states that has a higher divorce rate. Or the second one, for example, this one we did with the option death is less than 6,000, so it gives the number of a state which has a death number less than 6,000. Then I put the ds command, display the variables, it display alphabetically, it displays which variables are string, which variables are numeric. Then we talked about codebook, very important. Codebook gives us all the summary statistics, lots of summary statistics. We're going to use other commands too in the next video, but this video, just remember, codebook gives you all the basic descriptive statistics or summary statistics. Then the most important command on Stata, help command, where you can, whatever you want to do, you just write help, and then whatever you want to do, it gives you how to do it, the syntax and examples and options, everything. So use the duplicate command to show how to report the duplicates of observations, how to list the observation, how to drop the observations. Then we talked about generate variable. How to generate a variable, there are two ways, gen command andegen command. If one variable is a function of another variable, you useegen command, otherwise you use gen command. Usually gen, then whatever variable you want to generate, write it down, then we'll put a equal sign, then you put 0, let's say. That's the norm. Then you can use, then we talked about package, how to install a package. So we install a funny package, like there are also different kinds of packages. Even if you want, you can even see how many packages your Stata right now has. So you have to write down ado. It will give you all the packages installed in my Stata. So right now you can see I have 16 packages installed in my on my Stata. I have one package RD robust, gtools, geodistance. This is a distance variable, so from two different places you can find out how's the distance between these two places. bplot, mdsc, tab out, different coefficient plot, geo near, how near one place is to other place, g-score. We're gonna learn g-score in the next class. So I have like 16 packages right now on my Stata, so you can understand that packages are very important. So we learned about packages, how to install a package, how to uninstall a package, how to see what packages your Stata right now has. Then we learned about drop, how to drop a variable or bunch of variable, and how to keep a variable. If we want to keep some variables, 2-3 variables, we don't have to use the drop, you just have to write the keep. It will keep only those variables and it will drop all other variables. Then we learned about rename, how to rename a variable. So from pop we rename it to population. So syntax is very easy, you rename, you put rename, then the variable you want to rename, and then whatever new name you want to give. So that's the rename. So that's it for today. Next video we are gonna talk about summarizing and different tab and other tools. So see you there. Have a good weekend. Thank you.